Before we dive into this AI tool review that will provide clear insights, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we upload new tool review podcasts every day.
All right, so everyone's been talking about this Gauth AI, this AI tutor that's supposed to be like amazing.
Right.
And we're going to dive in and see if it really is all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
If it's something that you should really be considering for yourself or for your kids or,
Yeah, exactly.
whoever.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot of attention, obviously,
Yeah.
for being able to give you answers like that instantly
Mhm.
and walk you through how to actually solve the problems, not just give you the answer.
Yeah.
In math and science and English and, a bunch of other subjects too.
Yeah. A whole range of topics it covers. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you can just snap a picture of a handwritten question.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
And it'll just figure it out.
I mean, that's pretty neat, right? It's like
Pretty wild, right?
having magic in your pocket.
Totally.
You take a picture and it just knows
Yeah.
what you're asking and it can figure it out. It's like,
Wow.
whoa.
So tell me a little bit about how it actually works.
So it uses this really cool type of AI. It's called deep learning.
Okay.
And basically that means it's been trained on a massive, massive amount of data.
Oh, wow.
So it can kind of look at a problem
Okay.
and understand it and then solve it just like we do.
So it's not just a calculator that's spitting out the answer.
No, not at all. It's more like
Okay.
it's designed to be like a human tutor almost,
Okay.
where it kind of guides you through the problem.
Gotcha.
And for visual learners especially, seeing those steps laid out like that
Yeah.
can be really, really helpful.
I can see that.
And then, you add in the fact that it's available 24/7. You can
Okay, it's good
access it whenever you need it.
That's the dream.
Exactly. That's something that traditional tutoring just can't offer.
Yeah, you can't call up your tutors at 2 a.m.
Right, exactly. No, you can't. This you can.
Yeah, exactly. That is a huge plus, when you're cramming for a test or something. But I'm also wondering about the cost.
Mhm.
Is this something that's affordable
Yeah, that's a good question.
for the average student or,
So there is a free plan.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, it does have some limitations.
Okay.
But to get all the bells and whistles, you need Gauth Plus.
Okay.
And they have a few different options.
Gotcha.
They have monthly, quarterly, or annual plans.
Okay.
So you can pick what works for you.
So it's not exactly free.
Right. Well, the basic version is, but if
Right.
you want the full experience,
Yeah, to really get in there.
yeah, you got to pay.
So you're right. Cost is definitely a factor,
Yeah, it's something to consider.
especially compared to a human tutor.
Right. Although it might actually be less expensive
Okay.
in the long run than a human tutor.
Gotcha.
So it really comes down to how much do you value that, convenience and accessibility.
Yeah. Is it worth it to you to have that
Exactly.
sort of on-demand help
Yeah.
whenever you need it? Okay. And speaking of things to think about,
Yeah.
obviously we got to talk about the potential downsides.
Right. Of course. No tool is perfect.
Exactly. So what are some of the drawbacks that we should be aware of with Gauth AI?
Well, one thing that jumps out from a lot of the user reviews
Okay.
is the question of accuracy.
Okay.
The AI is constantly learning and improving,
Right.
but it's not perfect. It's not infallible.
So there's still a chance of getting
Yeah,
a wrong answer,
exactly.
especially with
Yeah.
tougher questions or.
Yeah, more complex problems or unusual ones. Yeah.
Okay. So we can't just
Right.
blindly trust it.
Exactly. You still got to use your own judgment
Okay.
and double check the work.
Okay. So that's actually a good point.
And that actually leads into another important thing to think about,
Okay.
which is the impact on critical thinking.
Oh, that's interesting.
If students are just relying on Gauth AI to solve everything,
Yeah.
are they really developing those problem-solving skills?
Mhm.
Right.
That they need in the long run.
It's like they're not really learning.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
like they're just getting the answer.
Right. It's like a shortcut,
Yeah.
but it might not be helping them actually learn.
Right. So that's a really important point. We don't want to become too reliant on it.
Right.
We want to use it as a tool, but not have it be like a crutch.
Exactly. It should support learning, not
Yeah,
replace it.
exactly. Okay. And, we should probably mention that
Yeah.
there are other AI study tools out there too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a whole bunch of them popping up.
Yeah. So what are some of the other ones that people are using?
Well, there's homework.ai. That one's pretty popular.
Okay.
And then there's question.ai, AI math image, student AI.
Wow. So many AIs.
Yeah. There's a lot out there.
Okay.
And they all have their own strengths and weaknesses.
So how do we know which one's the best or
Yeah. Yeah. How do you choose it right?
yeah, which one should we be looking at?
It's a good question. Yeah. Yeah. What should we be looking for?
Yeah, it really is there's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to pick the right one?
Yeah. What are some of the things people should be thinking about?
Well, it's kind of like choosing a textbook or a study guide, You want something that's going to work for you.
Right.
You want something that aligns with how you learn and the specific challenges you're facing.
Yeah.
So some tools are going to be great for visual learners.
Oh.
Others might be more interactive. Some might be better for really drilling down on specific concepts.
Right.
It really just depends on what you need.
Yeah, totally. It's not one size fits all.
Exactly.
Okay. So for Gauth AI specifically,
Yeah.
what's the user experience like?
Well, from what I've seen in the reviews, people seem to really like it.
Okay.
They say it's pretty intuitive, easy to use.
So you don't have to be a tech genius to figure it out.
No, not at all. It's very straightforward. Easy to navigate, clean interface. They really put some thought into making it user-friendly.
Okay, cool. So you can type in your question, or is it
Yeah, you can type it in. Or even better,
Okay.
you can just snap a picture of it,
oh, wow.
which is awesome, especially if you've got a complicated equation.
Yeah, that would take forever to type.
Exactly. Saves you a ton of time.
Okay.
And speaking of time, people also love how fast it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You get your answers super quick.
That's awesome.
No more waiting around for hours or days for help.
Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's user-friendly, it's efficient, it's convenient.
Mhm.
But what about the quality of the help itself?
Yeah. So overall, people seem pretty happy with it.
Okay.
Students really appreciate those step-by-step explanations.
Yeah.
Like we were saying before, it's not just about getting the answer.
Right.
It's about understanding how you got there.
Yeah.
Which is so important for actually learning the material.
And like actually remembering it later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also really like the 24/7 tutor support.
Right.
That's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. It's like having a tutor on call whenever you need them.
Exactly. It's a game changer,
Yeah.
especially for students who might be in different time zones
Right.
or who have really busy schedules.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But, let's be real. I'm sure there's some negative feedback too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, nothing's perfect.
Right.
So what are some of the things that people aren't so crazy about? One thing that I've seen come up a few times is that while Gauth AI is great at like giving you the solution to a problem, it doesn't always do a great job of explaining the theory behind it.
Okay.
So it might show you how to solve an equation,
Right.
but it might not explain why that equation works.
Gotcha. So you're not really getting the full picture.
Right. It's more about the mechanics of solving the problem than like the deeper understanding.
So it's kind of like a good starting point, but you still need to like do your own research and make sure you understand.
Yeah. You can't just rely on it completely.
Yeah.
It's a tool to support your learning, not to replace it completely.
Right.
You still need to engage with the material yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but Gauth AI isn't the only AI study tool out there.
Right.
There are others.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah. So how does it compare to some of those alternatives?
Right. So we mentioned homework.ai, question.ai, AI math image, student AI.
Right.
They all bring something different to the table.
Yeah.
Like homework.ai, for example, they're known for being really accurate.
Okay.
Like their answers are very consistent, very reliable.
Right.
And then question AI is really good at explaining things in detail.
Okay.
Like they go beyond just the mechanics of solving a problem.
Gotcha.
They really try to help you understand the concepts.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just a simple choice.
No, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. So how do we figure out which one's right for us?
Right. Well, I think the best thing to do is do your research, read reviews, maybe even try out a few different platforms.
Okay.
See what works best for you.
Yeah. See what clicks.
Exactly. You got to find the one that feels right.
Okay. So thinking about your own learning style.
Yeah.
What are some of the features that you would be looking for?
That's a good question, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I would definitely want something with really clear and concise explanations.
Okay.
Like, I don't just want the answer. I want to know why it's the right answer.
Right.
And I'd also be looking for something that can adapt to different learning paces.
Okay.
Because not everyone learns at the same speed.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are some of the things that are important to me.
Okay, cool.
What about you?
Yeah, I think those are really good points.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings up like a bigger question about AI and education.
Right.
Like as these tools keep getting better, how do you see them changing the way we learn?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting to think about all the possibilities, right? Like, imagine personalized learning paths for every student.
Wow, yeah.
AI-powered feedback systems that can really pinpoint your strengths and weaknesses.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and maybe even virtual reality classrooms.
Whoa, wow.
I mean, it feels like we're on the cusp of a major transformation.
Totally.
Like, education could look totally different in a few years.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It's really exciting.
But I guess we also have to be careful, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can't just jump in blindly.
Right.
There are a lot of things to consider.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, we need to make sure that these technologies are accessible to everyone.
Right, not just the people who can afford it.
Exactly. Equity and access have to be top priorities.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, there are ethical considerations too.
Right.
You know, these AI systems are collecting a lot of data about students. So we need to make sure that data is being used responsibly.
So it's not just being sold to like advertisers or something.
Right, exactly. We need to protect student privacy.
Okay, so there's a lot to think about.
It's a complex issue.
But it's an important one.
It is. It's something we need to be talking about.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Gauth AI.
We have.
And about AI and education in general. But I'm curious to get your overall assessment.
Okay.
Do you think Gauth AI lives up to the hype?
That's a good question, I think.
Yeah.
It has the potential to be a really helpful tool.
Okay.
But ultimately, it comes down to the user.
So like how they use it.
Exactly. It's like a musical instrument. You know?
Okay.
In the right hands, it can create beautiful music.
Right.
But it takes practice and skill and a deep understanding of the craft to really master it.
So for students who are like motivated
Yeah.
and engaged and like use it strategically, it could be really helpful.
Could be a game changer. But for students who just expect it to do the thinking for them,
Right.
it's probably not going to be the answer.
Right.
It's all about finding the right balance.
Okay.
We need to embrace the power of AI,
Yeah.
but we also need to recognize its limitations.
It doesn't like stifle our creativity or anything.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
don't want it to replace the joy of learning.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well said.
Thank you.
It seems like we're at a really interesting time for education
We are.
with all these new tools coming out.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary, too.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what it's going to look like in like 5 years?
Oh, right.
But I'm excited to see where it goes.
Me too.
All right. So for everyone listening,
Yeah.
hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of Gauth AI
Yeah.
and whether or not it's something that you want to check out.
And if you do decide to try it out,
Yeah.
just remember, it's a tool. Use it wisely.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let it use you.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so that wraps up this part of our deep dive.
Right.
Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll delve into the pros and cons of Gauth AI in more detail.
Sounds good.
Okay, see you in a bit.
All right. So we've talked a lot about Gauth AI.
Yeah.
You know,
We've covered a lot of ground.
all the different features and, you know, how it works and even like the bigger picture of AI in education.
Right, right.
But I think the big question that everyone wants to know is like,
Yeah,
is it really the homework hero it claims to be?
yeah. Does it actually live up to the hype?
Exactly.
Well, I think based on what we've seen,
Yeah.
it definitely has the potential. It can be a really powerful tool
Okay.
for students. It's like,
Yeah.
imagine having a tutor on call, like
Yeah.
24/7,
Right. Right.
ready to help you with whatever you're struggling with.
And it's not just about getting the answer. It's like,
right, exactly.
It actually like walks you through how to do it.
Yeah, it breaks it down step by step, which can be so helpful for some people.
Right, and especially for like visual learners, I imagine that would be like...
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're someone who learns best by seeing things, that's where Gauth AI can really shine.
Yeah, totally. Okay.
Yeah.
But we also have to be realistic, you know.
Of course, yeah.
No tool is perfect.
Right.
And Gauth AI is no exception.
Exactly. We can't forget that AI is still like a work in progress.
Right.
Even though it's gotten really sophisticated, there's still room for error.
Especially with like really complex questions or, you know...
Yeah, anything that's out of the ordinary.
Right. Okay, so basically, don't just blindly trust it.
Exactly. You still got to use your brain. Okay. Double check the work. Yeah. Make sure it makes sense.
And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with like critical thinking.
Exactly, yeah.
We don't want to become too reliant on Gauth AI.
Right. We don't want it to do all the thinking for us.
Right, exactly.
That's not how you learn.
It's like the difference between memorizing a formula and actually understanding what it means.
Exactly. One will get you through a test, maybe.
Right.
But the other will actually stick with you.
Yeah.
That's real knowledge.
Okay, so to kind of bring it all together.
Yeah.
Do you think Gauth AI lives up to the hype?
You know, I think it has the potential.
Okay.
But it really depends on the person using it.
So how they're using it.
Exactly. It's like any tool, really.
Okay.
It can be used for good or for bad.
I like that analogy. It's like a hammer. You know, you can build a house with it or you can break something.
Right. It depends on how you wield it.
So for students who are like proactive and engaged and they're using it as a supplement to their learning, it could be amazing.
It could really help them succeed.
Yeah.
But for students who are just trying to take the easy way out, it's not going to be a magic bullet.
It's not going to do the work for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so the key is balance.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
Embracing the power of AI, but also recognizing that it's not a cure-all.
Right. It's not going to solve all our problems.
Right, exactly.
It's a tool. It's a resource.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it needs to be used thoughtfully.
Okay. Well, I think this has been a really fascinating discussion.
Me too. I've enjoyed it.
It's really interesting to think about how AI is changing the world.
It's changing everything.
Yeah. And education is like right at the forefront of that.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time to be involved in education.
It's a little bit scary too.
Yeah. There are definitely challenges.
But I think it's mostly exciting.
I agree. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I think AI has the potential to make education better for everyone.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. So for everyone listening, hopefully this deep dive has given you some food for thought.
Yeah.
About Gauth AI and about the future of learning.
Definitely. And, you know, if you're curious about Gauth AI, go check it out. Try it for yourself.
See what you think.
But just remember what we talked about today.
Right. Use it wisely.
Yeah. Be mindful. Be engaged.
And most importantly, keep learning.
Keep those brains working.
Exactly. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.